Hardened Scales has been one of Modern's most popular decks, built around the 1-mana green enchantment, Hardened Scales.
Duh.
But today, Scales is going to be more the role player, and Agatha's Soul Cauldron is really going to steal the show. The 2-mana artifact allows you to bestow the activated abilities of your creatures in the graveyard onto creatures with +1/+1 counters. So if we can get a Walking Ballista into our graveyard, along with a Cauldron, Hardened Scales, and Young Wolf in play, we can create an infinite loop that will ping our opponents dead. Here's how it works. You eat the Ballista with the Cauldron and target the pup. Now, with Scales in play, that puts 2 +1/+1 counters on the dog. You can remove a counter to deal the opponent 1 damage, and then remove the other counter to deal the wolf 1 damage. It will die, triggering Undying, and resetting the combo.
But wait, Mr. Days Guy, I've got a problem. I built your deck, but now that I'm playing with this card, I had to buy a bunch of extra dice to bring with me. And now I have to carry around this satchel to store all my dice in because my deck box doesn't have any room.
Did somebody say satchel? No, Zach, you're not needed here. Anyway, Billy, I've got the solution for you. First, take that old, outdated deck box you've got and throw it in the garbage. Next, click the link pinned in my comments to head over to arcanefortress.com and pick yourself up a brand new stained glass Radiant deck box. It's perfect for Cauldron gamers. Your old deck box didn't have the tech.
What's the tech?
Ha! I'm glad you asked, Billy. The Radiant deck box has a magnetized dice holder unlike any other deck box that's out there. It seamlessly slides and adheres to the inside of the box and can hold that satchel of dice you've got there. So you can game with your Cauldron, no problems.
Whoa!
Not only that, the super high quality stitched nanofiber is durable and looks great.
What's that mean?
It means it's top notch, Billy.
But your box is pink. My deck is green.
Lucky for you, Billy, the Arcane Fortress Radiant deck box comes in 6 different flavors.
Wait, I can eat it?
Well, I wouldn't recommend that, but each color comes with its own unique stained glass rendition of your favorite basic land type. Each box can hold 100 double-sleeved cards, so it's perfect for your EDH deck as well. This box also comes with dividers for your tokens and sideboard, so those other ones that you paid $10 for, you didn't need to do that. These are included for the same low price.
Sheesh. I need to click the link pinned in your comments to head over to Arcane Fortress right now and get my Radiant deck box.
You sure do, Billy. You sure do. Oh, and it passes the shake test too.
Still closed.
I hope you brought your dice with you. This is round 1. We're on the play. Let's go. 7 is most of the way there. We'll keep it. Start with our Misty Rainforest fetch. Shotgun a Breeding Pool. Play out our Hardened Scales. Opponent Blackleaf Cliffs. And a Thoughtseize. Followed by Confusion. They opt to take Emery. We draw another Hardened Scales. Interesting. Start with our Rona. Bobble. Take a look at their top card. See a Blackleaf Cliffs. Draw off our Bobble. We find an Ozolith. Another Blackleaf Cliffs. And a Daughty Voidwalker will shut down our combo here. Draw a basic island. Let's start by drawing card. We find another Emery. I don't hate it. I think we can get rid of this Young Wolf at this point. Basic island, Ozolith, untap Rona, draw another card. We found our Cauldron. We'll get rid of the Scales. Play out the Cauldron, untap Rona. Not going to attack here. Cauldron, eat Emery, counter on Rona, 2 counters on Rona. Steal the Bobble, cast the Bobble, and we'll look at their top card. We see a Fable on top. Opponent flashes in a Bowmaster. Knew that was a possibility. Ping us down to 16. We draw into a Springleaf Drum. We're down to 15. Opponent attacks for 3, we'll go down to 12. Blood Crypt, Shock, and a Ragavan. We'll love to find a Ballista here. Breeding Pool. I think we are going to draw a card here. We find a Saga, not terrible. It sure isn't. Saga is great because it can clog up the board and help us stall until we're able to find a Walking Ballista to shoot down the opposing Voidwalker. We'll play out this Drum. No attacks, pass it back. Opponent's up to 4 cards in hand. Land, fetch, probably a Shieldred here. Oh, it's just a Fable. Attack for 3, we're down to 8 life. We'll eat their Thoughtseize end of turn. Untap. Draw an Ozolith. Potential to make our creatures really big. We'll cast that out. We'll untap Rona, but we're not drawing anything right now. We'll just pass turn back. Fable up to 2, discard 2 lands. They found the Shieldred. Pretty good. Put us down to 5. End of turn. Make a construct. Untap. Draw for turn. Get down to 3. Saga up to 3. Construct. Get a Shadow Spear. I equip my Shadow Spear and swing with an 8/8 construct, which puts me up to 11 life and helps me to stabilize. Over the next few turns, my life total and my opponent's flip-flop back and forth like there's a mirror universe being utilized. I attacked with my huge construct and gain a bunch of life, and then an attack with a Daughty Voidwalker and Shieldred's triggers brings me back down again. But slowly, my creatures are growing larger every turn, and I start to pull away. Eventually, I find the card I was looking for, Walking Ballista, which I cast as a 3/3. I'm able to buff it to a 6/6 with the Cauldron, and then once again with the Ozolith to put it up to a 9/9. With the Scammer tapped out at 8 life, I start teeing off like I'm playing golf. And we're on to game 2, where the dirty Scammer does dirty scam things. Turn 1 Grief, Undying Evil, and there go both of my Cauldrons. Fortunately, Urza's Saga can't be targeted by Grief's discard, and when they fail to produce another threat on their next 3 turns, they know my Saga is going to gobble them up. Once again, produce a Shadow Spear and make it impossible for them to race. The Scammer knows when to quit and scoops up their annoying cards. So it's always very satisfying to get a win against Scam, but we didn't execute our combo. I hear ya. Worry not, because this blue-red Murktide opponent isn't going to see it coming. Draw a card off our Bauble, find another Sanctum, opponent with a Scalding Tarn, coming back our way. Find another Bauble. Let's play out a Saga, Rona, Bauble, combat. We'll attack in for 1, opponent's at 19. They fetch end of turn. They find themselves a Steam Vents end of turn, shock it in, down to 16, probably killing our Rona here. Unholy Heat, that's not going to be good enough. Let's look at their top card. See a Ragavan on top. Draw a card, find an Emery, Flooded Strand fetch, basic island, 2 mana, Ledger Shredder, sure. Bauble, trigger the Shredder. Ragavan to the graveyard, we knew about that one. Shredder is a 2/4. Look at our top card. Alright, we find ourselves another Rona, Saga up to 2, play out a Sanctum, no attacks. Let's actually draw a card now, just in case they have a Tidebinder. Tormod's Crypt, that's a good one. Discard Rona, let's play out the Crypt. Opponent's up to 6 in hand. Misty Rainforest. Explosives for 0, sure. Combat, no attacks. We're gonna make Construct end of turn. Untap. Draw into a Cauldron, pretty good. We'll add a mana with this one. And I think we're gonna get a Spell Bomb. 1 mana, we'll cast out Emery. We'll draw a card with that on the stack. Bauble, I think we're okay getting rid of that Bauble. Rona untaps. 2 mana, they fire off a counter spell. I think we're okay with that. Cauldron, it's gonna trigger Rona, trigger the Shredder. We'll draw a card. Find another Emery, we'll discard the Emery. Opponent discards a Tarn. Untap Rona. Cauldron's in play. So now that I've resolved the Cauldron, have Young Wolf on the battlefield, and Court of Calling to find my Ballista, all I need to resolve is a Hardened Scales, and my combo will be assembled. Because I'm able to draw multiple cards a turn by recycling my Bauble from the graveyard with Emery's ability, it shouldn't be long before we find the green enchantment. Drawn to a Hardened Scales, so we have our combo. Spire Bluff in play, aggressive attack for 2, love to see it. 2 mana EE for 2, we're going to respond with a Spell Pierce. Opponent adds 2 mana, pays for the Spell Pierce, explosives into play. No turn, Cord for 0, it's going to trigger the Shredder. Steam Vents to the graveyard, Ballista to the graveyard. Draw a Bauble, play out Hardened Scales, eat the Ballista, counters on the Young Wolf, move to combat, attack, move a counter, ping my opponent, move a counter, ping the Young Wolf. Back into play, let's do it again. They're dead. So we assembled the combo, but my opponent was only at 3 life when we popped off, so it didn't really feel like we got to flex on him the way we wanted. So let's skip ahead to the next match, where our opponent actually helps us to do our thing. Let me show you what I mean. Play out our Saga, cast the Ozolith, pass the turn back. Opponent does nothing. Wow. Saga up to 2, draw into a Breeding Pool, start by shocking that in. Ballista for 1, it's going to be triggers, will be a 3/3. Emery, helping their cause, Ballista to the graveyard, and I think we're going to leave this Rune Crab for now, with hopes that they mill Cauldron into our graveyard. Okay, opponent does nothing. End of turn. Still no second land. Not sure what they're doing over there. Move to discard a Jace. Alright, we draw into a Rona. We're going to add a mana here. I think we're going to get a Springleaf Drum. We'll activate, look to return our Ballista. Second Ballista for 1. It's going to be triggers. Tap the Ballista, Play out a Ledger Shredder. Opponent with an Archive Trap. Put a Cauldron to the graveyard. Good to know about. And another trap. Wow. We're at 19 cards left in library. I guess that's why they kept their hand. Visions of Beyond. They draw 3. Shredder into play. Attack for 3. Opponent's down to 15. And we are most definitely getting rid of this crab now. Crab is down. They're up to 8 cards in hand. Play out a land. Fatal push our Shredder. Sure. Play out another crab. Alright, if they don't have Surgical Extraction, we will win from here. Emery, Cauldron, cast the Cauldron, tap a Ballista, cast a Young Wolf. Cauldron, target Ballista. Alright, I think we got there. Counter on the Young Wolf. It's going to be triggers. It's a 4/4. Hit them down to 13. Move a counter, target the Young Wolf. Trigger. Comes back into play. It's going to get counters. And they're dead. We're up a game. That felt great. But despite our good fortune game 1, Mill actually has really good tools to fight our deck. Their Field of Runes keep our sagas in check, Surgical Extraction and Extirpate can hit our Cauldron targets out of the graveyard, and Tasha's Hideous Laughter is capable of milling most of our deck in one foul swoop. We succumbed to their crabs in 3 games and acquired a loss, but just like Young Wolf, we're going to bounce back. So keep the faith, because we're going to paint a masterpiece over these next 2 matches. Alright, we're back. Let's keep this. Opponent is on the play. Okay, opponent's on the 6-card hand. They lead with the Dark Slick Shores and the Thoughtseize. Imagine they take the Scales, and they do indeed. Alright, drawn to a Cauldron. Excellent. Botanical Sanctum, and I think we're just going to play out our Might. Opponent with an Otawara and a Profane Tutor on the stack. So with that, this could be some sort of a Reanimator strategy, so I think it's important to get our Cauldron down. So that is what I'm going to do. Profane Tutor can also be indicative of the deck formerly known as Ad Nauseam, but the Thoughtseize that was cast on turn 1 led me to believe otherwise. After looting twice with my Rona on the next turn, I'm able to build out my board with an Emery and a Ballista. I put another Rona into the graveyard, and I'm able to loot my way into Ozolith, the Shattered Spire, and a Young Wolf, which means I've assembled Voltron. I mean, my combo. My opponent sees what's happening and scoops the game, but I'm still not exactly sure what they're playing. Let's go to game 2 and see if we can figure this thing out. It's unclear what our opponent's doing. So with that being said, we're just going to board out a bunch of 1-ofs, and we're going to bring some interaction and graveyard hate. Opponent keeps their 7-card hand. I honestly think we can do better than this. We'll mulligan. And I like this better. We'll keep bottom Zabaz. Opponent with a Gemstone Mine and a Thoughtseize. This might be Neoform. That is possible. They take our Young Wolf. We have them scared of the dog. Draw a Ledger Shredder. Let's play out our Sanctum. Pass the turn. Opponent with a Seachrome Coast. Suspend a Tutor. Draw into a Breeding Pool. We're going to play out the Saga. Shredder. Bobble. Trigger the Shredder. Drew a Ballista. I think we'll hold on to that for next turn to trigger the Shredder again. Let's get rid of the Breeding Pool. Look at their top card. We see Spoils of the Vault. Oh, okay. So this is Ad Nauseam. Draw a Rona. Tutor down to 1. The main deck Thoughtseizes are throwing me off here. Not used to seeing that in Ad Nauseam. Opponent with a Sleight of Hand. Play out a City of Brass. Back our way. While this deck is intended to win its fair share of games with a combo kill, it can beat down just as well, which is kinda the direction this game went. We added another Ledger Shredder to the board, along with Young Wolf, and just proceeded to turn him sideways. The supposed fast combo player on the other side of the table continued to dirtle on their turn, and on our turn, we swing in once more, putting them down to 9 life. We should have lethal on the crackback. Tutor down to 1. Opponent's pain costs. Takes 1 off their City of Brass. Prismatic Ending. Hit down our Ledger Shredder. Coming back our way. Draw a Spell Pierce, which I actually don't hate. Emery. Cauldron. Cast the Cauldron. Eat the Ballista. Counter on Young Wolf. Move to combat. Attack for 6. Opponent with a Slaughter Pact. I'm going to Spell Pierce that. Trigger the Shredder. And opponent scoops. 2 and 2. So we're on to our 5th and final match, clawing and scratching trying to secure a 3-2 finish, and we find ourselves in a slugfest against Tron. And after assuming the beatdown role game 1 and walking away with a victory, and then getting mana screwed in game 2, it's all on this epic game 3 battle to see who comes out with the treasure chest. Let's get to it. 2 mana from our opponent, Sylvan Scrying. They get a mine. All right, draw a second Young Wolf. Not what we're looking for. Let's start with another bauble. Look at our top card. See a land. We are definitely getting rid of that. Fetch. Breeding Pool. Shock. Wolf. Wolf. Draw for a bauble. Not great. There's the mine we knew about. Chromatic Sphere. They used a sphere, draw a card, and then didn't do anything else. Okay. We draw another Scales. Doesn't really do anything right now, so I think we're going to hold that. Play out a land. Commence Beatdown. Put him with another sphere. Green mana. Draw a card. Found another power plant. And a nose stone. All right, we find a Shredder. We know they don't have a land, so we're actually going to play this out right now. Shredder into Drum. Trigger the Shredder. Find a Scales. Put that to the graveyard. Combat. Attack for 2. Opponent's at 16. Okay, they find their 5th land. Pass it back our way. Emery, not terrible. Combat. Attack for 5. Opponent's down to 11. Crack the O-Stone. Wolves are coming back. Ancient Stirrings. And a Wormcoil Engine. Play out a Forest. Back to us. Okay, we're close. Combat and attack. Opponent's down 7. 3 mana for an Emery. Trigger. Okay, Ballista's in the graveyard. We have it next turn if they can't shut this off. Kill our Emery. It doesn't matter at this point. They're at 3 life. Saga up to 3. They're going to have Tron this turn. And a lot of mana. Hopefully the engine's the only thing they've got going. Make a construct. Okay, they get a star. Naturally have the Tron. Ugh. 4 mana. Crack the star at green. Hoping it's just this Wormcoil. 4 mana. 6 mana. Wormcoil. Is that it? Opponent no attacks. Okay. Draw another Emery. Hardened Scales. Cauldron. Eat Ballista. Counters on Young Wolf. And we get there. All right. 3 and 2. I'm excited about that one. Let's open this chest, see what it has for us. Got an Invoke Despair. Can't be mad about that. So after a hard-fought league, our Young Wolf, Hardened Scales, Soul Cauldron, Walking Ballista combo gets the job done to finish out and give us the positive record. Remember, folks, bring your dice with you if you're going to play this deck. And if you need a place to put them, Arcane Fortress deck box is the way to go. Thank you for tuning in today. I will see you all again very soon. Until next time, you know the deal. Be well, my friends.